I am Siddhartha Gautama, the one they call the Buddha. And today, I am surrounded by 20 people who have built their entire lives on the one thing I spent mine trying to release. My first claim is this: desire is the root of suffering. The more you chase, the further peace retreats. And every single person in this room is running.
Bro, Buddha! Huge fan! Actually, I have a tattoo of your face on my shoulder.
You have my face on your body?
Yeah! Right next to the lion and the clock with no hands. It symbolizes timeless hustle.
I genuinely do not know where to begin with that.
Look, I respect you, but this whole desire is suffering thing, that's loser mentality. Desire is what built everything. My company, my brand, my audience. I wake up at 3:45 a.m. every single day. Cold shower, journaling, gym, content, calls. I don't stop until midnight.
Why 3:45?
Because 4 a.m. is what everyone else does. I'm 15 minutes ahead.
Ahead of what?
The competition?
And what happens when you reach them?
I wake up at 3:30.
So you will spend your entire life waking up 15 minutes earlier than the last person who woke up 15 minutes earlier. You are not describing ambition. You are describing the hungry ghost. It eats and eats and eats, and its stomach never fills. It just learns to eat faster.
Nah, bro. Hungry ghosts don't have 6 revenue streams.
And what are those 6 revenue streams for?
Financial freedom, building an empire, securing the bag so one day I answer to nobody.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is. I don't sleep more than 4 hours. I haven't taken a day off in 3 years. I missed my best friend's wedding because I was closing a deal. But that's the price.
The price of what?
Of winning.
And once you have won, what will you do?
Whatever I want. That's the whole point. Full control. Wake up on a beach somewhere. No schedule, no obligations. Just peace, you know?
So, you have not slept in 3 years. You have missed the people you love. You have given every waking hour to a machine that demands more and more from you. And the reward? The thing waiting at the end of all this is peace.
Yeah.
You are working 20 hours a day to one day earn the right to feel what I feel right now, sitting here for free.
That's a gross oversimplification of a very complex business model.
Tell me the number.
What number?
The amount of money at which you stop.
There isn't one.
There never is. That is the first teaching. The finish line moves every time you approach it. You are running a race that was designed never to end.
Okay, I've heard enough. This is exactly why nobody takes monks seriously in the real world. You left a palace. Congratulations. You had the privilege to renounce wealth because you were born drowning in it. Most people don't get that luxury.
That is a fair point.
I didn't grow up in a palace. I built my company from nothing. 15-hour days, 7 days a week for 12 years. So when you sit there in your robe and tell me desire is suffering, it feels like someone who's never been hungry lecturing me about dieting.
I was hungry. For 6 years, I starved myself nearly to death searching for answers. I know what it is to have nothing. The difference between us is that I stopped there and asked why. You stopped there and said never again. Both are understandable, but only one of them ends.
My never again built an empire that employs 12,000 people.
And what does your empire sell?
Luxury, beauty, aspiration, craftsmanship.
Remove the logo from your most popular handbag. How much is it worth?
That's a stupid question. The logo is the value.
You just said it. A symbol, an idea, a story is worth more than the physical object. You do not sell handbags, Victoria. You sell people a story about themselves. And the most profitable chapter of that story is always the same one. You are not enough yet.
People want to feel special. There's nothing wrong with that.
And what happens when everyone has your handbag?
We release a new one.
And a new one after that. And a new one after that. Your business cannot survive a satisfied customer. Your entire model feeds on people believing they are not enough. You do not sell luxury. You sell the feeling of not enough on an installment plan. That is the hungry ghost wearing a very expensive dress.
You're oversimplifying a trillion-dollar industry.
Whenever someone tells me I am oversimplifying, it usually means I am getting close to something they would prefer to keep complicated.
You know what? You're a hypocrite. You sit here in your robe, which someone made for you, in a room someone built, with lights someone powered. Every comfort around you exists because someone desired something more. Your entire peaceful little existence is subsidized by the very system you're criticizing.
You are correct. I do not exist outside this system. No one does. But listen to what you just listed. The robe keeps me warm. The room keeps off the rain. The lights let me see. Every one of those things does something. I need the room, Victoria. I would even need the bag. Anything that carries my bowl without letting it break is a good and useful thing.
So you admit it. You need all of it.
I need the bag. I do not need the logo. My second claim is this. Nothing you own is truly yours. Not your money, not your name, not your body. Everything you hold is borrowed, and the loan comes due without warning. The river does not take credit for the rain, and yet every person in this room believes they made the water.
Love that. Love that claim. That's actually chapter 3 in my book, Detach to Attract, How Letting Go Unlocks Unlimited Abundance. New York Times bestseller, second printing.
You wrote a book about letting go?
Wrote it, marketed it, launched a masterclass around it. We also have a premium tier with group coaching, and a retreat in Bali, and a certification program so other people can teach it.
You have built a business empire around teaching people to let go of business empires.
I teach them to let go of attachment to business empires.
What is the difference?
There's a difference. The difference is a mindset shift. Once you release your attachment to outcomes, abundance flows naturally. That's actually my proprietary framework, the detachment funnel trademark. It's trademarked.
You trademarked detachment.
The framework, not the concept. You can't trademark a concept. My lawyers looked into it.
I gave my teachings for free, under trees, in fields, to anyone who sat down. You have taken those teachings, wrapped them in jargon, placed them behind a paywall, added a subscription model, and held a retreat in Bali where people pay $8,000 to sit in the same position I am sitting in right now, for free.
The Bali retreat includes meals and a sound bath.
You are not my student, Jason. You are my scalper.
Okay, harsh. But here's the thing. Times have changed. People don't sit under trees anymore. They need content. They need structure. They need a 12-week drip sequence with accountability check-ins. I'm just meeting them where they are.
And where are they when they finish your 12-week program?
Many of them enroll in the advanced program.
And after that?
The mastery program.
And after that?
The certification to teach the program.
So the final stage of learning to let go is paying you to teach other people to pay you.
When you say it like that, it sounds like a pyramid scheme.
I did not say that. You did. I believe that is what your industry calls a breakthrough.
I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to defend my handbag or my morning routine. I've given away more money than most countries' GDP, hospitals, schools, clean water for 60 million people. So I want to ask you something honestly.
Sure.
When you left your palace, you left behind a wife, Yasodhara, and a son, Rahula, a newborn son. You walked out in the middle of the night without saying goodbye. You left a mother alone with an infant so you could go find yourself under a tree. Every single person you've spoken to today, you've told them their work causes suffering, that their chase hurts people. But you, the man who teaches non-attachment, caused the deepest attachment wound there is. You abandoned your child. So tell me, Siddhartha, who suffered more from your enlightenment? You, or the boy who grew up wondering why his father chose the world over him?
You are right.
I know I am.
That night is the heaviest thing I carry. Heavier than any teaching. I have carried that stone for 2,500 years. If you came here to throw it, I understand. It is a fair throw. I looked at my son sleeping, and I knew that if I stayed, I would raise him inside the same beautiful lie my father raised me in. A palace so comfortable he would never see the suffering outside its walls. I could not save him by staying, but I also cannot pretend that leaving did not wound him.
So your great enlightenment started with the same thing you're criticizing us for, choosing your mission over the people closest to you.
Yes, and I have sat with that truth for a very long time. I do not offer myself as someone who has never caused suffering. I offer myself as someone who understands what it costs.
Good, because I've sat with a version of that truth too. Every hour I spent building my company was an hour I didn't spend with my daughter. She told me once, when she was 14, that she learned more about me from magazine covers than from being in the same room. I carry that. But I also carry the fact that 60 million people have clean water because I made that choice.
And if you could go back?
I'd do it again, and hate myself for it, same as you.
Then you understand something most people in this room do not. The cost of a life devoted to others is often the people you love the most. I do not say this to excuse either of us. I say it because anyone who tells you they changed the world without losing something precious is lying.
But here's where we differ. You tell people to let go of everything. I tell people to build things worth holding on to, even knowing they'll lose them. I fund hospitals that will crumble one day. I build schools that will be renamed. I don't care. The children who walked through those doors, that's real. That happened. Impermanence doesn't erase impact.
No, it does not. And I would never ask you to stop building hospitals. I would only ask, did you need to become a billionaire first? Could those hospitals not exist without one person accumulating so much that they could give it away like a king distributing bread?
Maybe not. But the world we live in isn't the one you meditate about. It's the one where those hospitals don't get built unless someone has the power to write the check. I'm not the solution. I'm the patch. And until your teachings can build a water treatment plant, patches are what we have.
That may be the most honest thing anyone has said today.
I'm too old to be anything else.
My final claim, you do not want freedom. None of you. What you want is a more comfortable cage. Every system you have built, every company, every portfolio, every brand is not a path to freedom. It is a decoration for the walls of a prison you have chosen to call home. The finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. Wealth is the finger. Peace is the moon. And every person in this room is arguing about the length of the finger.
I've been waiting for this claim. The other two were interesting, but this is the one you actually believe.
I believe all three.
No. The first two are philosophy. This one is personal. You think we're all trapped. That every person in this room is a prisoner who doesn't know the door is open. And I've been sitting here for an hour trying to figure out if you're right.
And?
You are. Mostly. These people are trapped. The influencer is trapped by his audience. The luxury queen is trapped by her brand. The self-help guy is trapped by his own funnel. Even the philanthropist is trapped by her guilt. You diagnosed every single one of them correctly.
Then what is your objection?
My objection is that you are also in a cage, and yours might be the most dangerous one in this room.
Explain.
You left a palace. You starved yourself. You sat under a tree until the answers came. And then you spent the rest of your life teaching those answers to anyone who would listen. You built an institution, a following, a legacy that has lasted 2,500 years. Monasteries in every country, statues in every city, an entire civilization shaped by your words. And you're going to sit here and tell me that's not an empire?
I never sought any of that.
Neither did most of us. Doesn't matter. The result is the same. You told Derek he's a hungry ghost on a hamster wheel. But what do you call a man who has spent 2,500 years trying to convince the entire human race to let go? You haven't let go, Siddhartha. You've been holding on to the idea that everyone else needs to let go. That is attachment. Attachment to non-attachment. The most elegant cage ever built, because the prisoner genuinely believes he's the one who's free.
That is a very old criticism.
Because it's never been answered.
It has not been answered because it contains a truth I have never denied. Yes, the teaching is itself a form of attachment. The raft that carries you across the river must be set down on the other shore. I have said this from the beginning. The teaching is not the destination. It is the boat. And yes, I have spent a very long time in that boat.
So we're all in cages. You, me, the influencer, the philanthropist, everyone. The only difference is the decoration.
No, there is one difference.
Which is?
I know I am in one.
That's a great line. But I want to push further, because I don't think you've heard what I'm actually doing here.
Then tell me.
I run a fund. You know what I invest in? Meditation apps, mindfulness platforms, corporate wellness programs, Buddhist-inspired therapy tools. I have made more money from your philosophy than every monastery on earth combined. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. I didn't corrupt your teaching. I didn't twist it. I sold it exactly as you gave it. Let go. Be present. Desire less. Word for word. And it is the most profitable product I have ever carried. Do you know why?
Tell me.
Because people don't actually want to let go. They want to feel like they're letting go. They want the aesthetic of peace without the cost. They'll pay $14.99 a month to hear a calm voice tell them to breathe. They'll buy your statue for their living room right next to the 70-inch television. They'll do a 10-day silent retreat and post about it the second they get their phone back. Your teaching didn't fail because people rejected it. It failed because they loved it. They loved it so much they turned it into a product. And a product is the one thing you said it should never be. You didn't lose to capitalism, Buddha. Capitalism ate your teaching whole, digested it, and sold it back to the world with a subscription model. And the worst part? It works. People feel a little better. They sleep a little easier. They go back to their jobs a little calmer. Just calm enough to keep going. Just peaceful enough to never actually change. Your teaching became the exact thing you warned about. The most comfortable cage in the room. And I am the one who built it. So I want to thank you. Not sarcastically, I mean it. You gave the world the most beautiful idea it has ever heard. And the world did what it always does. It put a price tag on it. That's not your fault. But it is your legacy.
You understood everything, except the one thing that mattered.
And I still made a fortune, so what did I miss?
Everything you said is true. And I will tell you something I have never said aloud. I have watched it happen. Century after century, the statues, the merchandise, the apps, the retreats that cost more than the villages beside them. Everything I tried to dissolve, rebuilt in my name. And there are days when I wonder if the greatest attachment I ever failed to release was the belief that I could free anyone at all.
So what do you do with that?
I sit with it. That is all I have ever known how to do. I sit with it, and I do not look away. And tomorrow, I will say the same things to a new room of people, knowing that most of them will nod, feel something, and go back to exactly what they were doing before. And I will do it anyway. Not because it works, but because the alternative is silence. And suffering does not respond to silence.
Even if it doesn't respond to you either.
Even then. But I want to correct something, Alan. You called what I do attachment. You said I am holding on. And from the outside, I understand why it looks that way. A man who keeps showing up, keeps speaking, keeps sitting in rooms like this. Yes, it resembles the hungry ghost. It resembles the cage. But there is a difference between a man who cannot leave a burning building and a man who walks back into one. They look identical from the outside. One is trapped, the other chose to stay. Not because the fire feels good, not because he needs the fire to complete him, but because there are people inside. Attachment clings because it fears loss. Compassion stays because it sees a wound. The doctor who treats a dying patient is not addicted to medicine. She simply cannot walk past suffering and do nothing. That is not a cage, Alan. That is the door being wide open and choosing to remain in the room anyway, because someone in it still needs help. You are very intelligent. You saw the pattern correctly. But you made the same mistake every person in this room has made today. You measured the action without asking what lives behind it. Behind your action is profit. Behind Derek's is fear. Behind Victoria's is pride. Behind mine is this. I see suffering and I cannot look away. Not because I am attached to saving you, but because turning away would be a betrayal of the very thing I found under that tree. You do not need to respond. Just sit with it. That is all I have ever asked of anyone.
You know what? That might be the first thing you've said today that I can't put a price tag on.
Give it time. Someone will.